No slides in. So first, thank you, Gavin. Mr. McCall, thank you for everything. Distinguished members of Congress, let me begin. In all seriousness, this is a fourth caucus, and it's tremendous, but I'll take the opportunity to thank two people who really were instrumental in making this happen. And both Representative McCall and Representative Van Hollen have great staffs, and Andy Taylor and Erica Pell have put an incredible amount of work to make this successful, and I really know a part of what they do and how fortunate the representatives are to have them as part of their staff. I spent most of my research side of my career developing new drugs for children with cancer, doing early phase clinical trials. And as such, the majority of the families and children I meet come at a time when there's no known curative path forward. And they come when all options have been exhausted, looking for that hope. And the treatments that we have, and the tip of the iceberg that Crystal has presented is inspiring for hope, comes with many challenges. Nothing that we do is free of risk. Nothing that we do is free of side effect. And unfortunately, much of what we do turns out not to be effective. And the question that many families ask is, what would you do if it were your child? And I've been doing this for more than 25 years now, and the answer is, I don't know. I have no idea. I've got 4 healthy children. I have no idea because to have a child with cancer, or to have a child with cancer with no known curative approach is unimaginable. It's like all other things. It's unimaginable. What I can do is try to guide them, but I can't imagine how I would respond. Deborah Price and Randy Walker faced the unimaginable. And they faced it with their daughter Caroline. And I can think of no better tribute to all the children and families who faced that than to have the Caroline Price Walker Conquer Child Cancer Act. The act was incredibly important when it first passed, but what I will tell you is essential now to be part of the future for our children. As important as it was, it's even more important now. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about, why I feel so passionately about the Act and its potential. There are 3 components to it. One is to improve upon how we survey a child with cancer. Where are the children with cancer? What's happening with them? To improve the methods that we can track every child with cancer in the country with cancer. To also study, well, what are the other barriers? Nancy, who spearheaded the Creating Hope Act, and the impact you're hearing, is helping overcome one barrier, but there are other barriers to developing new drugs for children with cancer. We've just begun to have make headway here. There are other barriers. The Act is going to explore those. And in my view, one of the critical parts of that is to expand and enhance our biorepositories. And let me tell you about why that is so important now. The tools that we have to study childhood cancer, we couldn't imagine 10 years ago, and even 5 years ago. And I can promise you, we really don't know the tools that we're going to have 5 years from now. But one thing is certain, is in order to use those tools effectively, you need to be able to provide biospecimens from every kind of childhood cancer there is and give it to every capable scientist in the world to study in the laboratory. And it's not just the biospecimen. What does that mean? It's not just a piece of the tumor, but it's understanding this is a tumor from a child, and this is what happened to that child. Because the information that's coming out right now is overwhelming. It's overwhelming the scientists, it's overwhelming companies, it's overwhelming lots of people as far as the amount of data. What we have to do is sort out, well, what's the important information, what are the important signals, and what are the less important signals? And the way you do that is to understand what happened to the child whose tumor is now being studied in the laboratory. And it's called well annotated, meaning you have information, a well annotated lab specimen. So there are about 14,000 new cases of childhood cancer in this country. And some of those cancers that you've heard, are rare. I mean, neuroblastoma, by every stretch of the imagination, is a rare childhood cancer. It's one of the more common childhood cancers. But if you're a parent, and your child has a cancer, it doesn't matter to you that there are only 25 children or 50 children in the country each year that are diagnosed. You want research done, you want better treatments, you want the latest therapies. So whether it's the most common cancer, or a cancer that occurs in only a handful of children, it doesn't matter. What you need is you need the tools to find the answer. And so the way we can do that is simply say, let's make this opportunity available to every child with cancer in the country. Let's grow our biorepositories. Let's have qualified people who are submitting the data, making sure the biospecimens are handled correctly. Let's put them all together, and let's provide a resource to the world to say, here is what you can study that will unlock the secrets to what's driving the cancer, no matter how common or how rare. And it may not sound exciting when you say we're going to collect this and annotate it and make it available, but I can tell you that any technology in the world, the latest scientific advance, is going to need tumors in the laboratory to study to figure this out. And if we build this now, we're not going to be having this discussion 5 years from now. Because when a smart young guy comes along or a smart young lady comes along and says, I have a great idea of what I think is driving the cancer that occurs in less than 100 children a year in this country, we'll say, great. We've collected them all. Ask your question. And we're going to be 90% of the way there. So we're going to transform what we do in research by passing this act. Because we're no longer just going to focus on one cancer, or two cancers, or three cancers. We're going to focus on all of them. Because we have the ability to do that right now. And so now is the time to invest. And it's a modest investment. I shouldn't say that in Washington. Nothing's a modest investment. But the payoff here is going to be incredible. And so the Carolyn Price Walker Conquer Childhood Cancer Act made a huge difference. But it's at its beginning. And this reauthorization is going to be the path to finding cures for every child, because that's why we're all here. Thank you.